Good evening and welcome to the Whaler, guys. We survived another close brush with a blizzard. I'm Jerry Irwin along with Peter Hindle on that side of the blue line. We have an interesting show tonight. We have NHL news and notes. Of course, we're going to talk about UConn and their playoff bid, as well as the Wolfpack and the St. Patrick's Day Parade. It's a great day to be green because we're Whaler fans, and I'm Irish.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good. Then we're good.
Every day in every way.
That's right. Feeling better, yeah. So, starting off with the Bruins, their last homestand, they went 6-0-0. I know how much you love that.
Oh, it's impressive,
And
unfortunately.
then the home and home against Chicago came to a screeching halt when they lost 3-1 in Chicago. An early game. It was like an 11:30 game.
Yeah, I think we got a picture of it with the Bruins there.
That's right. And the other thing was that was the night that we set our clocks ahead for spring,
wow.
so they got one less hours sleep. And obviously it showed because they lost 3-1 to the unfortunately really poor playing
the
Blackhawks.
That's right. Hey, Lindsay, you got a picture of the Bruins there?
There you go. There they are playing the Flyers. They won that game 3-2. That was a really good game.
No, that's against the Blackhawks.
That's the Blackhawks.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's the game. Did they lose at home or did they lose on the road?
No, they lost on the road at Chicago.
So this is they won this one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They're on the road.
Right, Chicago won this one.
3-1.
You're screwing me up.
Yeah, I am.
And then they played the Carolina Hurricanes. Went down. They played at Raleigh.
Yeah.
And they ended up winning 6-4.
Wow! In front of 17 people, and 10 of them were Bruin fans. So hey, that's impressive.
And Pasternak, they were down 4-1, and within 1 minute and 17 seconds, they scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
And added another one, 4 unanswered goals. And then scored an empty netter to make it 6-4.
Yeah, impressive comeback.
It was, and Pasternak with the hat trick. Tuukka Rask again, phenomenal in goal. He's played really well, and as you were commenting off camera, the plus-minus ratings for the defensemen for the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, very impressive. That scares the hell out of me actually. If someone who does not, I mean, if you're a Whaler fan like I am, you don't want the Bruins to win, but. Yeah, this is not. I mean, this is the type of stuff where you forecasting a storm because if they're not going to take penalties in the playoffs, then other teams are going to get stuck where they take penalties to take a risk, and then the Bruins can capitalize that, and they can't get back at the other team. They can't get back at the Bruins because if they're not taking penalties, you're not going to have a chance to get up on them, get an opportunity on them, and then plus their scoring balance is very well. Marchand and Bergeron, I mean, they got guys that can put the puck in the net, and you got Nash, who you seem to think is playing a little bit better. We followed him with the Rangers and everything.
From what I've seen, Nash looks like he has found his stride with the Bruins.
Right.
And again, it's kind of like talking about Alex Rodriguez with the Yankees because Nash has had good regular seasons, but when he's gotten into the playoffs, he has just crashed and burned. And for a guy with a contract the size of his, you want some return on investment.
Oh, sure. And I think that's why the Rangers were like, hey, let's just let's cut. And we remember that because. That was a huge trade that affected here in Hartford because the Rangers sent 3 prospects. They were on the Hartford Wolfpack. One of the players was not, but a couple were. And so they got Nash, and at the time it was a 2014 run. They thought that the Rangers were going to win the Cup. So we'll talk about the Rangers, and they are all set in terms of the playoffs. They're not going to be making any kind of playoff run. They ended up going 4-2-1 since the trade deadline, which is pretty good for them considering they had a big fire sale with McDonough, and there's possibility that over the summer they could move even more people. But currently there's about 10 Rangers that were Wolfpack players. So you have Chris Kreider, Zuccarello, Kevin Hayes, John Gilmore,
and Miller was part of that trade too.
Right.
And that's a big trade. Those 3 big big ticket items really.
Yeah.
But they were really good players for the Rangers. And look at Zuccarello the other night. He ends up getting 2 goals. Vesey gets a hat trick. And that again was the Carolina Hurricanes.
I know. We just follow the Carolina Hurricanes and watch them just blow games.
They're in New York this weekend against the Islanders at 5 o'clock on Sunday.
Hey.
Going back to the Bruins for 1 second.
Yeah.
They have 15 games remaining in 28 games in the regular season.
Okay.
They have a day off, 1 day off between games.
Wow.
Where during the regular season, for the most part, you get 2 games off in between your games.
Yeah.
So they have until the end of the season, 1 game off in between the games coming up. They are 4 points as of last night behind Tampa Bay, who is playing phenomenal hockey. They have 100 points already this season.
Yep.
Tomorrow night, the Bruins play Florida in Florida.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay does not play. And then the Bruins play in Tampa Bay. So that should be a really good matchup.
Yeah.
Talking where those trades went with the Rangers, you have to remember Spooner from the Bruins went to Rangers.
Yeah.
He's now up with the parent club.
Yep.
Matt Bolesky, who was on the fourth line with the Bruins, is now down in Hartford. He was reassigned.
Yeah.
So you're seeing a shift, really, with two of the rivals in the original six there.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, if you're like I said, the Bruins got a good chance to win the cup, and they really do with this lineup and the way it is. The Rangers are done. We know that, and they had a good couple of runs the last couple of years. But the good thing for Hartford about this, with the Rangers having this difficulty at that level, is they might channel more of their emphasis on developing players because they obviously need to retool quickly on the fly.
Yep.
Georgiev, who's been playing pretty solidly for the Wolfpack, has been up there.
He got the win against Carolina.
That's right.
He faced 44 shots against the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
And he ended up saving 41 of them. A good game for Georgiev.
Yeah, you can't fault Carolina. I mean, they put the shots on net, and what an improvement for him. And you have to give some credit to Coach McCambridge, because Georgiev was not this kind of player at the beginning of the year. He had a lot of rough starts with the Wolfpack, and at least the Rangers are taking a look at him. It can't hurt. So with that many players on the Rangers rosters that had effect in Hartford or played in Hartford, or it's interesting. At least from that standpoint, we can see the path to the NHL through Hartford.
And we've seen the club many times down in Hartford, and to see the youngsters finding their mark in Hartford is going to help them progress up to the. And that's what's happening with the Bruins. Is you're seeing they have a very good farm club down in Providence,
right? And
you're seeing those younger players now returning that investment to Boston.
Yeah. So it's all good. Yep.
It's interesting. An interesting tidbit with David Pasternak, that with his hat trick the other day, he improved his career goal total to 86.
Wow.
He passed Barry Peterson, who had 85 for the most goals played, scored by a Bruin, before the age of 22. Pasternak will not turn 22 until the end of May.
Wow.
So, he's having a very, very good season.
That's pretty impressive.
His points, 86 career goals already.
Yeah.
That was a good find for the Bruins.
Yeah, absolutely. And they had Charlie McAvoy, who's been injured with a knee injury, I believe.
Sprained MCL. He's out about 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Marchand was scratched for the game in Chicago, but came back against the Carolina game. But the big bad news for the Bruins is in the game against Carolina, Chara was hurt, Torrey Krug was hurt, and DeBrusk was hurt. DeBrusk had a head injury, possibly a concussion. Torrey Krug, undisclosed injury. And Chara tweaked his knee. They don't know if it's a strain, if it's more severe than that. Obviously, with all the medical confidentiality, they don't go into too much of a detail except the lower body injury.
No, and it's a shame that how they got this was they all tied their skates together, their laces, and they went to leave the locker room. And you get 3 injuries like that. You can't play around with laces.
The good news is,
at least that's what I heard.
Backus is back after that nonsense 3-game suspension by the player safety. I don't know what they're smoking up there, but that was not a 3-game suspension. But again, teach their own. They have a job to do.
It is what it is. At least it wasn't during the playoffs. So so the Bruins have a lot of games going, and then this is also another thing that actually may behoove them is playing that many games back to back. Sure gets you into the mindset of a playoff. When you're doing the playoffs, it's game after game after game. The intensity's there, so they're going to be pretty battle tested for this run. So. If you're a Bruins fan, hey, this is looking interesting. Your obstacle, obviously, is Tampa Bay right now, as far as we know. You never know. Sometimes it becomes a hot team out of there. And maybe on the other side,
you become your worst enemy. One of the two.
And on the other side, what about the Golden Knights? That's something else. I mean, they're still in there, and I didn't see that coming. So
no, you have.
I sold them down the river in October,
and you kept on paddling up that river, but they keep on pushing you back because they're in first place.
Yeah.
We have a little tidbit, and we will share it with you about our Connecticut native players, and the first one that comes to mind is Jonathan Quick. He had a 35 save performance Monday night against the Vancouver Canucks, where they won 3-0. And it's one of those things. Right now, L.A. is in third place, currently behind 2 points behind San Jose and 14 points behind the Golden Knights.
Wow. That's
14,
unbelievable.
14 points is
It's
significant.
Yeah, that really is. It's unbelievable. And then you saw Marc-Andre Fleury got his 400th NHL win, the 13th NHL goalie to do so. That's another thing. That's another guy that I thought, well, he's going to go to Las Vegas and die a slow death. He's had great success there.
He stepped on the accelerator.
Yeah, I mean, it's making the Penguins think, well, maybe we didn't give up the right goaltender or something like that. You worry about Murray's durability. Yeah, that's the thing. And boy, what if you see Fleury in the conference finals or something like that? I mean, good for him.
Yeah,
he's turned a situation into the best it can be.
He has turned out to really shine after a couple seasons that were really poor. And you could tell he was frustrated.
Right.
And maybe a change of venue is what he needed. And
not a Connecticut guy, but we did get off track.
But the other thing that is interesting, another non-Connecticut guy, Ovechkin last night got his 600th goal.
That's right.
That's a huge and
not surprising because it seems like
amazing.
Unbelievable.
And so a lot of the players from I think it was Pittsburgh last night went up to him and shook his hand, and that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
That is one player that I'm not a huge Washington fan, but he gives his all. Every single game.
Oh, he's already a Hall of Famer.
He's a true leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then our friend from Farmington, Nick Bonino.
Yep.
He's played 57 games this season, 10 goals, 11 assists with 21 points, and he has a +6 rating. A really classy guy. Brought the cup here after they won the cup last year.
Right.
He seems like an easygoing guy. It's nice to see him being successful
and contributor.
And the Predators, they lead the Central Division with 98 points, 6 points ahead of second place Winnipeg and 13 ahead of the Minnesota Wild. So again, another for the Wild to catch up, you have 13 points that you're going to have to gain some ground on.
Wow, that's a lot to do.
Another thing out of Nashville, which is interesting, Bettman praised the work of General Manager David Poley, and publicly stated the other day that an outdoor hockey game is not out of the question for Nashville.
Well,
what a great fan base.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it does get cold enough in Nashville. They can do it. If they can do it in Anaheim, they can pretty much do it anywhere.
They can do it
an outdoor game, and that would be interesting because that they wouldn't go to Raleigh. So sorry,
But I think that is going to be a neat thing in Nashville because I really love the fans down there.
Yeah,
to watch them.
It's fun.
It's contagious.
It's our Calgary in a way. It's like you see the cowboy hats and everything like that, and it's just a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of neat. And the jerseys look. I watch Nashville, and I feel like I'm watching Quinnipiac.
Exactly. Right.
So anyway, but it's worked out better than I thought. Nashville too. But it's the getting to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, of course. Was huge.
And we have Ron Hainsey from Bolton, Connecticut,
Yep.
and he's now playing for Toronto this season. Has 67 games under his belt with 4 goals, 18 assists.
Wow.
And he has a
good defensive
+8 rating. So you can tell by the +8 rating how much Toronto has improved this year. And like we were talking earlier, it could be a Boston-Toronto first round
that would
playoff.
be interesting because they played each other. Was it in the 2011?
Yes.
They did.
Yeah.
And Toronto, I think, was ahead in that series and ended up. It was a big game at the end there. I can't remember if it was a 5th or 6th game or whatever, but I don't think it was a 7th game. But anyway, the Bruins came back and beat Toronto and knocked them out in the first round. And the Bruins had to come back from behind. So there's probably some good rubbing elbows going to be going on in that series. So
well, anytime
we'll have to see if that lines up that way.
Anytime the playoffs start, there's great hitting and more physical play.
So the Bruins will have to play the Toronto Maple Leafs and then maybe play Tampa Bay. So you're going to see a lot of blue jerseys coming at them.
And Toronto's currently in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference with 7 points behind second place Boston.
Wow.
And 13 points behind Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is just blowing everyone away in that division.
Yeah. And then most of the team is Rangers, former Rangers.
Yes. And we also have our last standout is from UConn, Tage Thompson. 31 games, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. Unfortunately, with a -10 rating. The last game Monday night against Anaheim, he logged 15 shifts for a total ice time of 12 minutes and 37 seconds. No shots on goal, but he was out there for 15 shifts, so they're giving him the playing time. He just has to really start picking it up.
Yeah, he does, because those are,
but he's also a freshman in the league.
That's true. He was such a force for UConn, and, you hate to see But if he needs to spend more time with the Chicago Wolves and in the AHL and develop more, then that's the case it'll be. He's, like I said, he's still very young.
They've kept him up the whole season.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, they have? They haven't even sent him down?
No, they haven't sent him down.
Wow, wow. So that's
so he must have been healthy scratches here and there.
Yeah, probably. Yep.
So what do we got next?
UConn. We got a picture here. This is a Friday night score here. So UConn did well in the terms of they put up a good fight, but most of you, I don't know if you knew, they finished 5th this year in Hockey East and got a first-round bye in the playoffs. And it really stunk for us guys here because we were like, oh, we're going to see home playoff games. Well, this year with don't forget Notre Dame left the league, so there's only 11 teams, and so you have an extra bye now. And UConn got that bye and went right into the second round. They lost 5-4 to BU in the first game.
But they came back from a 4-1 deficit.
They came back from 4-1 to force overtime. They win 5-4. Now they had Adam Huska in net, which we talked about before the series. That with Tanner Creel playing so well. I mean, down the stretch. I mean, the guy he was like, I forget what the exact numbers were. He was like 6-1-1 or 6-2-1.
It was crazy.
Beating BU, beating BC, and getting UConn into this 5th spot. And we thought you'd go with Tanner Creel in that first game on Friday night. And if he gets into trouble there, or if you lose, then you have the option to go to Huska.
Right. You had a healthy backup.
Yeah.
And, especially with Creel being his last year.
Yeah, that's true. He was a senior.
Yeah, he was a senior. Let him run with it. He's done well in the last 7 games.
Right.
They had the 7-game winning streak.
Yeah.
And Creel was
he was a huge
contributor
part of that.
there.
Huge part of that.
And for me to see Huska, who's again a great goaltender, but you got a hot goalie in Creel. You have to wonder what was going through Coach Kavanaugh's mind, but he's the coach and he can do what he'd like.
Yeah. And so we have the final picture here. So the Saturday night result when they were up at BU, and a lot of Whaler fans went up to see this game, but they ended up losing the game 2-1, and so that's the end of the series. So UConn's out. They finished 5th in Hockey East. Now this is the interesting part: 5th best offensive team in Hockey East, and
that's
wonderful. That's impressive. So they're only a couple of goals in production. They had 70 goals this year, and that's incredible in 24 games.
Yes.
Especially after losing Tage Thompson, one of your offensive threats on that team. Now they're going to lose Spencer Nass this year. That's going to hurt. He was a great senior, had a great year for a great 4 years or 3 years for UConn. So we'll have to see what happens next, but this is their high water mark. And don't forget, guys, I mean, even with the attendance they're doing well, they were 11-12, and like 3. They were just under 500, but yet they finished 5th.
But
so
correct me if I'm wrong. You saw a much more cohesive team this year
at the second half. I
yes,
think,
yes.
Because we had some downers. They lost to Merrimack twice.
Yeah.
And we were like, that's the end of this season.
Yeah.
And then we knew Huska went down. And we said, well, that's really the end.
Yeah, it was after the holiday break that
right.
they came back, and all of a sudden you got your 7 games.
Right.
And it brought those people into the XL Center.
It did.
Those attendance numbers went higher and higher.
They
opened up the curtains at each end.
Yeah.
What was it, the BU game we were at? Or
BC,
the
BU.
They had a huge crowd there.
Yeah, 7,300.
Yeah, 7,300.
And that was a top watermark for Hockey East attendance. I'll tell you, this year there's not going to be many attendances that were over that, if any, because not just the size of the XL Center, but a lot of people come to these the games for the XL Center, especially when they get more involved. And when Tanner Creel started playing well, you're right, the attendance started to decrease because nobody expected they were dead to rights. You thought, but then they beat BC, they beat Providence, they beat Northeastern for the first time in their 4-year history, and they started to beat these ranked teams. And I think they beat like 10 or 12 ranked teams this year.
Yes.
So they even got one vote for one of the top 20 rankings.
Exactly.
So.
And the other thing you heard was the intensity of that crowd coming in.
Yeah.
We had a church-like atmosphere in the first half of the season. Everyone's sitting on their hands. They didn't know if they should get involved.
Yeah.
And then after the holiday break, they were starting to go crazy.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where, they got into the game. You could feel the energy.
Right.
You went crazy at the game when they had the two shorthanders right away.
Yeah, they were jailbreak goals, and they were hot.
And that place was crazy.
It was nuts.
It was great because it brought back memories of what a loud facility feels like.
Yeah, a hockey town.
Yeah, it was a hockey. Definitely.
Yeah.
So we were very fortunate to be able to see most of the UConn games, and we salute the Huskies for the improvements they've made.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun covering them this year. Again, we thank Bill Peterson, head of media relations for the men's hockey team.
Yeah.
And Coach Kavanaugh, great job. Next year we'll build on this year.
Hopefully, because we're going to have to do some recruiting, and now Huska will be a junior next year, so we're going to have to start looking at who's going to be the next goaltender for UConn in a year or two. So we'll have to see. But yeah, you're going to lose Spencer Nass. I think Evan Schwartz might be a senior. You're going to lose some key players on this team, and these guys really battled well, especially with the backup goaltender was still amazing.
Oh yeah, and in the stats that
Yeah.
I printed out quickly.
Yeah.
I know we don't have a lot of time, but
Yeah.
Latunov ended up with the most amount of goals. He had
sure.
36 games played. He had 12 goals, 16 assists with 28 points.
Yeah.
He had 87 shots, not the most. Spencer Nass had 111.
Yeah.
And he had 12 goals, 12 assists.
Very respectful.
Latunov
Yep.
+8, Spencer Nass +7.
Wow.
Benjamin Freeman +6.
Wow. And
So
that's it.
you
Yeah.
have a lot of pluses in here.
Yeah.
And when you look at the points, it's just amazing that they did, like you said, they scored a bunch of goals this year.
Yeah.
And made things really
They
exciting.
had, I don't know, see, I wish I knew the exact number, but they definitely had, if not double digits games where they scored five goals, at least 4 or 5 goals.
Yep.
They're getting, and that
which
was not
which
the
was
UConn yeah.
which was not what you had last year.
Well, that was not what you had the last 3 years,
Yeah,
really. Remember,
yeah.
it was always like, if they got down 3-1 or 4-1, the game was over. There was no chance coming back. We had instances this year where, they came back from that and winning in overtime. The BC game was huge. The BU win was huge. Providence, Northeastern. I mean, plenty. And don't forget, they were playing teams outside the conference and that were ranked. Beating Colgates and
Brown up in Providence.
Yeah. So not a bad year at all. It's not stellar. They're still under 500, but it was the best out of the 4 years. And each year they do kind of get a little bit better. This year we had a lot of fun though with
We
that
did,
second.
we did.
That second round. Getting into the second round was a first for them. So hats off to them on a great season.
Absolutely. And, now we turn our focus again for the Wolfpack to see
Yeah.
how they're doing. This weekend is a busy weekend for the Wolfpack. They have 3 games, including a pair of home games. Atlantic leading Lehigh Valley Phantoms Friday night at 7:15. And that is Celtic Heritage Night at the XL Center and celebrate Celtic heritage. Not the Boston Celtics, but the Irish people.
Right.
And promotions throughout the evening. Again, we know what Friday night is. You got the $1 hot dog, $2 beers.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
great because you sit there and say, who's coming in, and then they go to Wilkes-Barre Scranton on Saturday.
Okay. So
And
play
then
the Penguins. So
Sunday,
2 tough games there. Yeah.
Sunday they come back for a 5 o'clock game against the Rochester Americans.
Yeah.
So get there early. And a little for
we
more.
gotta go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got to wrap things
Yeah.
up because we are actually going to have some highlights
Yeah,
from
the St. Patrick's Day parade.
Yeah,
So
it's-
2018 parade was last Saturday, and we got a quick video here for you to show you real quick. We got to wrap it up, so we'll catch you next time.
on the Whaler guys. One Nation Under Green.
No, wait a second. We got the Whalers, Hartford Whalers boosters.
I think the gentleman in the green suit was just anxious to
He
move
was
along.
just moving on. Okay, yeah, no, we're still with the Hartford Whalers Booster Club. As you saw on their sign right there, rest in peace, Gordie Howe, of course, yes. And it used to be a tradition for me when I was riding in this parade. We were talking about this before. I have an old Ron Francis jersey. You put that sweater on right up there, and boy, when people see it, their eyes light up. It's not just green, it's Hartford. It's everything you would want to wear on a day like today. We got Brass Bonanza playing too. Let's listen in.
I'm running back down to the parade. Jim Altman is there. Jimmy?
With Erica, the Whaler guys, Peter Hindle and Jerry Irwin. It's happening, the Brass Bonanza. Yeah. Fired up, right? Yeah, great. Go down to DMV and get your Whaler plates. We're pushing it. Hartford Whaler license plates. Get them. They're hot. You can see everyone's here. I recognize you from Fox 61 Celebrity Sports Night. It was a wonderful opportunity to break out the brass and bring in the green, right? Break out the brass, bring in the green. It's all about the brass and the green. Pucky is here. Yeah, Pucky is here. Let's bring him back. Bring back the Whalers. There you go. Get your Whalers. Yeah.